What's up, everybody? Nico Dwyer, back for the 10th inning, here with another episode of This Day in Sports History. In yesterday's episode, we saw Lou Brock break the nearly 50-year-old record of Ty Cobb for most career stolen bases in Major League history. We don't have anything quite like that today, but we do have a no-hitter to get into, some U.S. National Championships to talk about, and some more Olympic Games. So if y'all enjoy this video, leave a like on it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to it. This Day in Sports History. We will start off today in 1887 with the U.S. National Championship. On the men's side, Richard D. Sears would win his 7th straight U.S. singles title, defeating Henry Slocum 6-1, 6-3, 6-2. This would be his final Grand Slam singles title of his career. 5 years later, we stay at the U.S. National Championship in 1892, and Oliver Campbell would make it 3 straight titles after defeating Fred Hovey 7-5, 3-6, 6-3, 7-5. Now we get into the Olympic Games. Start in 1904, and Thomas Hitch would win the Olympic marathon in a time of 3 hours, 28 minutes, 53 seconds. 1 year later in 1905, Ty Cobb would make his Major League debut, and in his first at-bat, the 18-year-old would get a double off of Jack Chesbrough in the Tigers' 5-3 victory. This double would be the first of 4,189 or 4,191, whichever one you want to believe, of his hits that he would collect during his Hall of Fame career. 7 years later, remained in Major League Baseball, and St. Louis Browns pitcher Earl Hamilton would no-hit the Detroit Tigers in a 5-0 victory. Now we move up to the U.S. National Championship in 1927. On the women's side, Helen Wills Moody would defeat Betty Nuthall Shoemaker 6-1, 6-4 to win her 4th of 7 U.S. singles titles. 10 years later, we go over to boxing in 1937, and Joe Louis would defeat Tommy Farr in 15 rounds to retain the heavyweight title. Back to Major League Baseball in 1941, St. Louis Cardinals pitcher Lon Warnecki would no-hit the Cincinnati Reds in a 2-0 victory. Now we move up to 1960 at the Olympic Games, and in the women's 4x100 medley relay, the USA would swim a world record 4 minutes 41.1 seconds to defeat Australia and win the gold medal. 9 years later, we go to the 69th edition of the U.S. Golf Amateur Championship in 1969, and Steve Melnick would get his only amateur victory of his career. Now we move into the 1972 Olympic Games, and we will start in swimming, and in the men's 100 meter, Nobutaka Taguchi of Japan would swim a world record 1 minute 4.94 seconds to claim the gold. Then in the women's 400 meter freestyle, Shane Gould of Australia would win in a world record time of 4 minutes 19.04 seconds to win her second of 3 golds at those games. Over to the women's 4x100 freestyle relay, and the American team would defeat East Germany by just 0.36 seconds to win the gold in a world record time of 3 minutes 55.19 seconds. We stay in those games, but we move over to gymnastics, and Ludmila Torisheva of the Soviet Union would win the gymnastics individual all-around to win her second gold of those games. Finally, in the 72 games in canoeing, the slalom event would be introduced, with East Germany winning all 4 of those events. 1987 is the year, and we go to the 87th edition of the U.S. Golf Amateur Championship, and Billy Mayfair would win his only U.S. Amateur. We stay in 1987 at the World Athletics Championships. Stefka Kostadinova would set the women's high jump record at 2.09 meters, or 6 feet 10.5 inches. And this is still a record that stands today. 4 years later in 1991, Mike Powell would set the long jump record at 29 feet 4.5 inches, or 8.95 meters. Much like our last world record, this is still one that stands today. 1 year later, we move back to the U.S. Amateur Championship, and Justin Leonard would win his only U.S. Amateur Championship. Now we move to 1997, and we hit the first edition of the WNBA Championship, in which we saw the Houston Comets defeat the New York Liberty to win the inaugural title. Now we go over to Little League Baseball in 1998, and Toms River would become the first American team since 1993 to win the Little League World Series, after Chris Cardone would hit home runs in consecutive at-bats, including a game-deciding 2-run home run to defeat Japan 12-9. From Little League Baseball to the Major Leagues, we move to 2006, and in the first inning of a 7-2 defeat against the Athletics, Boston Red Sox pitcher Curt Schilling would strike out Nick Swisher to record his 3,000th career strikeout, becoming the 14th pitcher in Major League history to reach the milestone. We stick with pitchers this time, but move to pitcher swinging the twig. In 2010, Cubs pitcher Carlos Zambrano would become the first Major League pitcher to homer in 8 consecutive seasons since 1970. And we end today's video off in Major League Baseball with another no-hitter in 2015. Jake Arrieta, needing just 116 pitches, would defeat the Los Angeles Dodgers 2-0, tossing the 14th no-hitter in Cubs history. And Arrieta on the day, 9 innings pitched, 1 walk-off, 12 strikeouts. The team also had 1 error. Either way, very impressive. So there you have it. That's what happened on this day in sports history. If I left anything out, I do apologize. If I mispronounced any names, I also apologize. But I'll see everybody tomorrow for Nick Wire and the 10th inning. See ya.